Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm Sam.
And I'm Luna. And today, we are about to break some rules.
Literally, we are going to take some of the most common grammar rules you have been following your whole life and tell you that some of them are just wrong.
Not all of them, but some of them. And by the end of this episode, you're going to feel a lot more free when you speak English.
So stay with us. This one is going to surprise you. Okay, Luna, I want to start with the one grammar rule that I think has scared more English learners than any other rule in history.
Which one?
Never end a sentence with a preposition. Words like at, on, with, about. Teachers used to make it sound like ending a sentence with one of those words was basically a crime.
I remember that. Where were you at? Wrong. Who did you go with? Wrong.
Exactly. And here is the crazy part. Are you ready for this?
Tell me.
That rule, the one that made millions of people feel stupid for speaking naturally, was never actually a real English rule. It was invented in the 1600s by a poet named John Dryden. He personally decided that English should work more like Latin, and Latin cannot end sentences with prepositions.
Wait, so one person in the 1600s just decided that?
One person. And somehow it became a rule that teachers were still marking wrong 400 years later.
That is honestly shocking.
And here is the best part. Even the greatest English writers in history broke this rule constantly. Winston Churchill, one of the most famous English speakers ever, once said something like, "This is the kind of nonsense up with which I will not put." He was making fun of the rule, showing how ridiculous it sounds when you try to follow it perfectly.
So the natural way, "this is the kind of nonsense I will not put up with," is actually correct.
Completely correct. And anyone who told you otherwise was following a rule that was never real in the first place.
So if you have been twisting your sentences into knots trying to avoid ending with a preposition, stop right now. Speak naturally.
Your English will actually sound better.
Okay, here is one that I feel strongly about. And this one actually made people worse at writing English, not better.
Ooh, what is it?
Never use and or but to start a sentence.
Oh, wow. Yes, every English class ever.
Right? Teachers would circle it in a red pen. You cannot start a sentence with a conjunction. And students learned to avoid it completely. They started writing these long, tangled sentences trying to connect everything without starting with and or but.
And the sentences got harder to read.
Much harder. Here is the truth. Starting a sentence with and or but is completely grammatically correct. It has been used by great writers for centuries. The Bible does it. Shakespeare does it. Some of the best American authors do it constantly.
So why did teachers say it was wrong?
Honestly, it was probably meant to stop young children from writing like this. I went to school, and I ate lunch, and I played outside, and I came home. Just and forever.
Okay, that I understand.
But somewhere along the way, a rule meant to help young kids became a permanent rule that adults followed forever. And it actually made writing less natural, less punchy, less alive.
Because sometimes you need that short, sharp sentence. But here is the thing, and that changed everything. Those hit differently when they stand alone.
Exactly. The short sentence after but creates impact. It creates a pause. It makes the reader feel something. Taking that away makes the writing flat.
So next time you write something and you want to start with and or but, do it. Own it. It is not wrong.
Okay, this next one, Luna, this one genuinely changed how I speak.
Which one?
The rule that you should never split an infinitive.
Oh, yes. To boldly go. Wrong, apparently.
Right. The opening line of Star Trek, one of the most famous phrases in American pop culture, and according to old grammar rules, completely incorrect.
For anyone who does not know, a split infinitive is when you put a word between to and a verb, like to quickly run instead of to run quickly, or to really understand instead of to understand really.
And the old rule says, never do that. Never put a word in the middle of your infinitive.
But here is the fascinating thing. That rule, just like the preposition rule, was also borrowed from Latin. In Latin, infinitives are one single word. You physically cannot split them. So someone decided English should work the same way.
But English is not Latin.
English is absolutely not Latin. And in English, sometimes splitting the infinitive is not just acceptable, it is actually the better choice, because the meaning changes depending on where you put the word.
Give me an example.
Sure. I want to really understand this topic. Now, try moving really. I really want to understand this topic. Do you hear how the meaning shifts slightly?
Yes, in the first one, really is about the depth of understanding. In the second one, it is more about how much I want to.
Exactly. So sometimes splitting the infinitive is not just okay, it is the only way to say exactly what you mean. And any rule that makes you say things less precisely is not a good rule.
This is the thing that gets me about all of these myths. They were not created to help people communicate better. They were created to make English look more like something it is not.
And real communication always wins over artificial rules.
Okay, I have to bring up one that is a little more modern, and this one causes actual arguments on the internet.
Oh no, which one?
Using literally to mean something that is not literal.
Like, I literally died laughing.
Exactly. And you did not die. You are still here. You are talking to me right now.
I am very much alive.
And a lot of people, especially grammar purists, get very upset about this. They say you are using the word wrong, that literally should only mean something that is actually factually true.
You know, there's something most people don't realize. Or maybe they just don't want to admit it.
What's that?
The word literally has actually been used for emphasis, not just for facts, for over 200 years. Charles Dickens used it that way, and so did F. Scott Fitzgerald. Some of the greatest writers in history used it exactly how people do today.
So when someone says, I literally cannot stop watching this show, and they just mean they're really hooked, that's not actually wrong? It's just a long tradition in English?
Exactly. Language evolves and words take on new meanings. That's not a mistake. It's just how every living language works. English is one of the most flexible languages in the world, and that's honestly part of what makes it so powerful.
So I guess we can stop feeling guilty about using it. We're in pretty good company. All right, Sam. I've been saving the biggest one for last.
Oh man, now I'm actually getting a little nervous.
You probably should be. This one tends to make people pretty uncomfortable.
All right, go for it.
So, the biggest grammar myth of all, the one that's done the most damage to people's confidence, is the idea that there is only one correct version of English, and that if you don't speak that specific way, you're doing it wrong.
Wow, that's a lot to take in.
It's not just a myth, though. It's actually harmful. It takes millions of people who are using English perfectly well to communicate and basically tells them they're failing.
It really doesn't hold up when you think about the scale of it. I mean, there are over 1.5 billion English speakers around the world. You've got the US, the UK, Australia, India, Nigeria, Singapore. The list goes on.
Exactly.
Every single one of those places has developed its own version of the language. They all have their own unique rhythms, their own slang, and even their own specific grammar patterns. You can't just ignore all of that.
And all of them are valid. All of them are real English.
The English spoken in New Orleans is different from the English spoken in New York. The English spoken in Texas is different from the English spoken in Boston. Are all of those wrong?
Of course not. They are all correct in their own context.
So the question is never, am I speaking correct English? The real question is, am I communicating clearly? Am I being understood? Am I connecting with the person in front of me?
If the answer is yes, you are speaking English correctly.
And if you have been holding back, not speaking, not writing, not trying, because you were afraid your English was not proper enough, this is your moment. Let that fear go.
Your English is enough, right now, today. So, let's land this plane.
Land this plane. I love that.
Today we looked at 5 grammar myths that have been following English learners around for way too long. And the truth behind all of them is the same.
English is alive. It breathes. It changes. It belongs to the people who speak it, not to a rule book written 400 years ago.
The goal of language has always been one thing: connection. If you are connecting, you are doing it right.
So here is your challenge before the next episode. Find one grammar rule you have been following out of fear. Not because it helps you communicate, just because someone told you it was wrong. And break it. On purpose.
The most fluent speakers are not the ones who never make mistakes. They are the ones who are too busy communicating to be afraid.
Drop your grammar myth in the comments. We want to hear which rules you have been following that might not even be real.
And subscribe if you have not already, because we have a lot more coming that is going to change how you think about English completely.
See you in the next one.
See you there. Bye.